Hey, No Pants Academy. We are back with another exclusive interview. Today, I am joined by Jesus Meca. He is a digital marketing agency owner. He is an SEO expert, and he calls himself a entrepreneur, which I find interesting, and we'll kind of dive into that. So before we do, Jesus, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Ron. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
So if you could just kind of give us a quick rundown of how you got involved in the digital marketing landscape. Like, what was your initial foray into this crazy world we're in?
Yeah, so between 2009 and 2010, as we were talking a little bit before we started recording, I traveled around the world. It was like 3 continents, 8 different countries, and I think it was 15 states in the United States. Doing a personal growth program, so to speak. So I became actually the first person in the world to finish what it's called Mastery in Rebirthing Breathwork. Mm-hmm. So when I finished, I did industrial engineering, something very different to what I'm doing now. So when I was traveling, I was thinking that when I finished, I was going to take a job, whatever it was, in the UK, because my brother was living there. Mm-hmm. And then I was going to start a side practice on kind of like the personal development industry or world, right? What ended up happening is that I met who is my wife today in Portland in one of the trainings that we were doing, because she was organizing for the teacher that I was traveling with. So we ended up in Spain, and I started my first business there a little bit late. And you know what is the first thing that happens when you think that you're going to be receiving a lot of clients out of nowhere? Mm-hmm. The reality is that you don't. Yeah. So I knew a little bit about building websites, because I built my first website, I think it was in 2002. I remember it was using Front Page or something like that. Okay. So I built a website, and I started learning about how to get clients, and I started to learn about SEO. I ranked my website, and then I started to receive clients. And one of the things that I realized is that, what I'm doing now has kind of like a cap of how much I can do. Mm-hmm. But if I start doing the same thing for other people, maybe they will pay me for it. Mm-hmm. So I literally started to create websites for lawyers in Spain, rank them, and then calling them, telling them, hey, I see that you are doing this. Can you just type this on Google? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you see this first website there? Well, I built that. Do you want it?
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's how everything started.
What was the success rate with that? With just calling them up and being like, check this out. Do you want to know more? Do you want this?
It was pretty high, actually, because, I will find different instances, right? I remember the very first client that I had was for a service that I don't know if we have it here in the US. It was Express Divorce.
I don't know.
So this basically means, if both parties are in an agreement with each other, mm-hmm. you can just pretty much submit a paperwork, and you don't need to do much more than that. So in Spain, there's a fixed rate for that. Mm-hmm. Just contact the lawyer, you pay them, and it's done pretty fast. Mm-hmm. So I remember calling her, and I was like, hey, I saw that you have this website. I have this other website that I ranked that it was actually for her city. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, I have like 3 websites. My dad just died. So it was very emotional. So I was able to connect with her right away. Mm-hmm. And I ended up doing a couple of projects with this person. And then the other ones, I would just call. Some of them will be, yeah, I'm already working with who. Mm-hmm. There is kind of like Yellow Pages, for mm-hmm. example. They do the same thing there, or they did in the past. Mm-hmm. And then some other ones were like, when can we talk? Just come to the office and we will talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Just calling them up, because it's not like, well, I can do this. It's, I actually did do this. Like, check it out. Yep. Cold, hard evidence.
Yeah. You don't need to wait 3 to 4 months until we mm-hmm. start getting your results, or whatever the spiel is. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty easy.
So I will admit, SEO is I know just enough to be dangerous, just enough to be able to have a conversation. But for those out there like me, could you break down what SEO is and why it's important for websites or businesses in general?
SEO for me is just bringing organic traffic to a website through search engines, right? It's the process of optimizing everything on a website to be able to bring this organic traffic that everybody loves.
Mm.
In order to do that, there's two main pillars, as everybody knows, is on-site SEO and then off-site SEO. On-site SEO has everything to do with the technical part of SEO that is pretty much giving Google what Google needs. And that goes from the right keywords, the right image optimization. We can go into more nerd details like adding schema markup if you're talking about an e-commerce or a local business, and the specific structures that the website need to have. Mm-hmm. And the offsite, and of course you can also maybe add a little bit of conversion optimization within the SEO, because SEO right now is not only about putting keywords in a specific place. It's grown a little bit, at least on my eyes, and it has to do with a lot of things like user experience and things like that. Because the more time a person stays on a website, the more Google will say that the content that is on that page is valuable, et cetera, et cetera. And then the off-page part of it, it's what it's called link building. Mm-hmm. It's creating mentions from other websites to the pages or websites that you want to rank.
So being able to get, what do they call them, backlinks, pointing back from like reputable sites, pointing back to your site.
Well, it could be reputable, it could be relevant, or it could be, reputable or relevant, pretty much.
And do you focus on the offsite part of the SEO? Do you do that for your clients as well?
Yep.
Helping them get, I guess, just in contact with the right sites?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of ways to do backlinking, right? If you're, for example, looking to do backlinking for a local business, one of the main things that you need to be sure is that they have a presence. And what that means is, let's imagine that you have just a business, right? A local business in your city, and you have one office, and it's in the corner of a street that nobody visits, right? Mm-hmm. When somebody look at that from an outside perspective, it doesn't seem that your business is in multiple places. It's kind of like on a corner. Mm-hmm. So what you want to do is like tell Google that your business is serious, right? In order to do that, you create multiple properties. A property could be social profiles. It could be what is called citations, that is including your website in Yelp and all these directories. Being sure that you create your Google My Business page. Mm-hmm. And then you can create other profiles in other places. Okay, so when you link all those with each other, mm-hmm. It's kind of like when Google goes there, scrape all this information and look at like an outside perspective of your business, mm-hmm. They say, oh, that business looks like it's doing great because it has all this presence in different parts of the internet, right? Mm-hmm. That's a good foundation to start link building. And then there's a lot of ways to do link building, from what is called white hat to what is called black hat. That actually pretty much everything is black hat, because if you create links with the intent of ranking a website, that's against Google terms of service. So there's a big discussion about links. What you need to be sure is that you are creating quality links from other websites that point to your website. And that will take care of 80% of everything.
So two things to pull out from there. One, with the overall, the backlinks in your strategy. So first off, what role does content, both on your website and the social media profiles, what role does content play into all of that?
I would separate actually social media and website as two different things, completely different, because although traffic is a good metric to improve rankings, let's say that there's a lot of people visiting you from social media to your website, and they stay on your website for enough time, that's going to be taken into account, at least for what I'm seeing. But you know, a backlink from Facebook, let's say that you have a Facebook page and you're very active and you continue linking from your Facebook page to your website, that doesn't have a lot of power.
Okay.
So the content that you put on social media, for example, is good to attract people to your website. So it's very important. I see that you did kind of like a live video the other day. I think it was on your personal profile.
Yeah.
So that's a good organic way to attract people to your business, you know, sending your message out there, right? It's kind of like an outbound, inbound kind of like strategy. With your website, it is extremely important how you write your content, how you plan your content in multiple ways, right? Content has to do with how much valuable information you're creating. So the more value you give to a user, the more they are going to stay, the more they are going to be browsing in your website. That means you have good information. Google notices that. Then you need to go into the technical part of it. What words are you putting there? What type of images are you adding? Are your images optimized? Are you adding videos? You know, the more media you add, supposedly is better because you have multiple ways of engaging with people. And then we go into the conversion part of the website. Are you pre-answering the questions that a user might have when they arrive to your website? So they have this subconscious click of, oh, I'm in the right place. Oh, that's a question that I had and I didn't know that I had it, but now I'm reading it. This is good. I think I should call these people. So all these things play an important part on the content. I'm not that savvy into the social media part of the content, but you know, it's all about creating something of value. Like I recently did a couple of posts on Medium and I shared in a couple of Facebook groups and I got a lot of views, like 3,000 views and I don't know how many. So if you create something that is value and you put it on the right place, then people are going to notice you.
At the same time, so traffic from social media doesn't affect the ranking as much for the site itself, like on Google.
Yeah.
Is that what you were saying at the beginning of that? Okay.
Yeah, we are still the number one ranking factor right now is still backlinks. If you want to isolate them, because you can't, but if you want to, backlinks, then content. And I've read that RankBrain is playing a big part of it right now.
You say ranked brain?
Yeah, RankBrain is pretty much the latest fancy word, so I look smart. That Google is using their AI to try to figure out what people is searching for. Like I read a case study the other day, and you know, there's people typing on Google, for example, gray console, video game console, gray, right? So people are searching for a color. So Google is trying to figure out what people are really searching for, because maybe the PlayStation 4 is the gray video game that everybody's searching for. So Google is trying to figure out how these two things link together. So it's search intent. It's what is the intention behind what somebody is trying to find on Google. Okay. Like when you say, you know, what was this song that had this lyric that say, I don't know which one, I have the eye of the tiger, for example.
Yeah.
So then Google would try to figure out that this is a specific singer with a specific song, and they would try to pull this information back. That's the latest thing that Google is trying to do.
So they're trying to almost figure out what you're saying, because the string of words may not really make sense. If you say, what is song Eye of the Tiger? It's like, what are you talking about? But they'll probably pop up a YouTube video because they know that you're searching for that song from Rocky or whatever.
That could potentially happen. Yeah.
That's pretty advanced stuff that Google's working with.
It is.
Is Google at the the front of the line as far as new developments for algorithms and stuff, or are Yelp, I don't even know, Alta Vista, I don't even know the other search engines because I just use Google. So are the other ones also trying to reinvent the wheel a little bit?
As far as I know, Google is being the leader because I think they have the big bucks.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that they've been in a lot of things like self-driving cars and a lot of things. I think that they are literally buying startups that had to do with AI. And I've read that there's a lot of students that are actually not finishing college and teachers, like big tech companies now are trying to steal anybody that they can to bring in into their EA teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like every tech company that you can think of are really pushing these far as far as they can, as my understanding is. Like I'm like I don't know, for example, Alta Vista, what Alta Vista is doing. I don't even know what Yahoo and Bing are doing really. I've always see that they are behind the scenes, but I haven't dig that deep into that.
So do you, for your clients, do you try and rank on those search engines at all, or do you just focus on Google?
I focus on Google and the other ones just follow naturally.
So if you rank well on Google, then by extension, you'll also rank on the other search engines.
That usually happens like that.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't know if they were completely different, like they were in different areas, or if there was some kind of interconnection. So that's interesting because it seems like most people are on Google. I don't know what the percentage is, but I would think it was very, very high, as opposed to people still using Yahoo or Bing or any of those other ones still out there.
Yeah, there's not 100% correlation with the results because they may have tweaks in their algorithms that are different. But yeah, Google brings most of the traffic. I would say maybe 90% or more.
So if someone was wanting to focus on SEO, just focusing on Google would get you most of the way there.
Yep. I mean, when we say focus on Google, it's really focus on the best practices that the industry knows in order to rank websites.
So Google is just setting the standard.
I would say so.
Have you noticed with the rise of new technologies, is voice technology like Alexa and these ones where you say, hey, Alexa, search for this thing, is that affecting keywords and the way you do your SEO?
I don't have data that can back what I'm going to say, but I would say that Rank Brain, it's been developed pretty much because voice is becoming a standard, or no, it's not a standard yet. Like has been mass adopted. Like not everybody has a Google Home or an Alexa in their home, but we are certainly going to that place. Like I pretty much search almost everything that I search nowadays on Google and maps and things like that. I just talk to my phone.
Yeah.
So we will be, pretty much soon. Now we walk on the street like that. Pretty much we are going to be walking like that and talking, blah, blah. I want to go to this place, into the closest direction. Until we put a chip on our brain, right? And then we see it just directly or whatever.
Yeah, we can just like push the side of our head and it just pops up. And
I'm certain that we are going to become bionic human beings sooner than later.
It's just a matter of time. It's crazy the amount of leaps and bounds we've made even in the last 10 years, 15 years, because I can remember very, very early on when I was a kid, the internet wasn't in homes. I built my first computer in high school. It was still kind of a weird thing in like the late 90s, but now everybody has a smartphone that's 100 times more powerful than I remember building my first computer, and it had like the hard drive was 18 gigabytes. And I was like, "Whoa, there's so much space on here. I can put movies and games." And now it's like, we've got phones with more than that. It's crazy.
I remember having a Commodore 64K. And then the Spectrum Blue came out and it was 128 megabytes maybe.
Yeah.
And that was like, whoa. I remember my brother programming games where you need to put a cassette and we would go to eat. It was the game was, what was these movies from Harrison Ford that were very famous?
thinking like
kind of adventure type of thing. All
Indiana
movies.
Jones.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
That was the game. So we would put the cassette, go to eat because it would take 30 minutes to load. And then we'll come back and play with graphics that, well, right now you look at them and you will be like, how could you play to these things?
Yeah.
Just pixels.
Yeah, it's just and yeah, just like squares, big squares just everywhere. It's hard to even go back. I got a Super Nintendo a couple of months ago, and even going back there, it's still, looks really good, but compared to today's stuff, it's like it's hard to go back. I'm sure for kids nowadays that started with the PlayStation 3 or the PlayStation 4, and they go back to the regular Nintendo and they're like, ugh, why would you play this? This is horrible.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen this, but have you seen, I think I saw this video a year ago, a couple of years ago. They put a normal phone in front of kids, the ones that you use and had the holes and you can, and they didn't know what to do with them. They were like, what is this for? How do you use that? And a couple of them figured it out, but this is how things have changed, man.
It's crazy too, the amount, I don't know. So growing up with technology versus older generations, a couple above us, and then the ones who are a couple below us who grew. I mean, I didn't get my first cell phone until I was probably in college. I was probably 19 years old, but now it's, you're like 5 years old and you've got a smartphone, you've got all this stuff. So it's just, I don't know if their brains are just going to be so much more able to handle all this tech stuff or, adopt everything, or I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot of studies about it. I have a 15-month kid, and we are going to cap whatever access he has to technology for as long as we can. Like, I think it was Steve Jobs. I think he didn't have a lot of technology in his house. And his kids, I think they had specific amounts of screen time that they could use. So if this guy is doing that or did that, that means something to me.
Yeah, because he could access pretty much anything. He could have as many screens in his house as he wants. And if he realizes the value in stepping away, and it's like with us, I work in front of my computer, all day long. So I know even with me, sometimes I just feel so frazzled that I just have to turn my phone off, shut my computer down, and just like go and read a book, a real book, just to get away.
Yeah.
So cool. Hopping back into SEO, you mentioned white hat and black hat. Do the tactics and strategies that are considered, white hat or black hat, do they change over time? Are certain things accepted but then later frowned upon, or vice versa?
Things change all the time. And whatever you want to call it, I'm going to step out of the hats because it's kind of silly to me to do it like that, even though if I introduce the idea. For example, not that long ago, like a couple of days ago, I saw a case study. There was one very well-known tactic that was called kind of like grant links, or I forgot the name. It's basically you will go to universities and you will create a kind of like a grant for students. So you will give away $1,000, kind of like in $1,000. So you will contact universities and they will link back to your site, to the page that you created with, hey, we are giving away $1,000 for your college, blah, 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 blah. So Google, for example, not that long ago, tapped into that and started penalizing a lot of websites. There's a famous case study of a website that was sold for $500,000, was scholarship links, they're called. And 5 days after the guy sold the website, Google tanked the website. Just imagine the buyer, right?
Oh yeah, that's horrible.
However, the guy went back and started removing all the scholarship links, and now the website is back up. So you can say that Google makes its revenue from AdWords. So even though if their intention is to serve valuable content to the people that are searching, they still want people to pay them to get their results there. So every once in a while, you will see Google coming after anything that they can to try to make SEO more difficult, or at least to make the SEO that could get you faster results more difficult. And that discourages a lot of people. You know, we know how the buzz of Facebook marketing it is right now. We can see how big companies are starting to turn into Facebook. So everybody's looking at Facebook now, and not a lot of people is looking that much to SEO. Less people is looking to Google AdWords, right? Because they think that this is very expensive and whatever, but Google AdWords is very profitable for businesses of all kinds and sizes. We can also talk about Instagram. I see all day long people making Instagram a really good traffic source for their website. Instagram has been around 7 years only, Facebook around 14. Snapchat took a big hit to, like, it was a big thing not that long ago, right? And Snapchat, what is, like 4 years ago already? I don't know how strong it is right now, but you see new technology showing up, you know, over time, and people just turn their focus to all these different options. Search is going to be there forever. It's not going to be the same, but everybody's going to search. Maybe it's going to change, and it's going to be more an app-based search. Like, for example, when you go to Google Maps now, it's an app, really, right, on your phone. But search is going to stay forever, I think.
That's interesting. I never thought about that, because it's not really a platform, whereas Facebook and Instagram are their own contained things. The Google search is, it's like it's a map of the entire internet. I had never thought about it that way. That's interesting. So yeah, I don't think it would ever completely go away, because it shows us how to get to all those platforms.
Exactly. And, you know, you could say, for example, that you could use other platforms as search. Like if you get a client, for example, and you create a Yelp profile, and you optimize the Yelp profile, there are still people searching on Yelp. It's not the majority, but there's a lot of people that go to Yelp to read reviews and you know, check out more information, etc. So that's search too, in my view. It's not Google search, but it's search. I don't know how many people are going to Facebook and searching for a company. I'm sure that there are some, but I don't know how many. So, you know, all these things for me are search. Google now is the main search engine, and I feel that they are going to stay for still quite a long time, but I don't know for how long. So search is going to change, but it's going to be there.
So with search, do you think it's equally valuable for local businesses as it is for online businesses that may be, because with local businesses, you've got, you know, 6 lawyers or 15 lawyers competing in one zip code maybe. Whereas online, if you're a digital marketing agency or you're, you know, whatever it is, you're competing with your neighborhood is the entire internet. Do you go about it differently? And do you work with online businesses as much as local?
When you say online, you mean more like a national business, or a business that is not constrained by location into how they provide their services or products?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think search is highly important for every single company out there, unless they don't have a website and they don't have a physical location, and the way that they sell is something that I can think of right now. But yeah, local businesses pretty much get most of their new clients, patients, clients, customers, etc., from search. And the smaller the city it is, maybe search, even if it's still important, your connection within the roots of your city are important as well. I can give you an example. I go sometimes to do some check-ins and do some treatments for myself to a friend that is an acupuncturist.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very well known here in the city that I am at. So he doesn't have any problems with getting more patients. Would you say that if he was the number one on Google for his main service, will have more patients? Yeah. So he will have, instead of a 2 or 3 month waiting list, maybe he will have a 6 month waiting list. But there are some specific businesses that don't need it. Now, if we think about a new acupuncturist that is coming to town and they want to set up their practice, even though if they can go and meet people within the city, would you say that, you know, having a web presence is going to benefit them? Yes or no?
I think so, yeah.
Exactly. Because they haven't established that, you know, connection within the city. So I see it every day. You know, you can take a local business and bring it from nowhere because they haven't put anything marketing in place to the first page of Google, and they increase their revenue 50% or whatever it is, or 100% or whatever. Does that mean the search is the only way to get business to a client? No. But is it important? Yes. If you talk about an e-commerce store, it's the same thing. If you talk about a SaaS company, it's the same thing. And, you know, there are different marketing avenues in order to bring, you know, new clients. If you have a SaaS company, would you use cold email, for example? That's how HubSpot grew to whatever, how big it is right now. Yeah.
Just cold email outreach.
Yeah. Because if you can find the people that you know are your perfect target and put the right message in front of them, why not? So let's do an example. So what do you do?
So my wife and I, we build funnels, because I was kind of asking for us whether, because we're all online completely, we have no local clients, we build online sales funnels, but it's such a, you know, it's a big market.
Yeah. So are you thinking about niching down or not?
Yeah, a little bit. So we primarily work with coaches or like online experts, so info products and membership sites.
Okay. So let's say that you can spot, here's what I would do. Okay. If I was you, let's see that you can spot coaches or your target audience of people that are not at the very top right now. They're kind of raising a little bit, right? But they don't have a funnel. And you contact them. You can contact them through, like, with a cold contact. That would be through a Facebook message, an email, whatever you want to do. You can call them right out of the bat. I don't know if this is going to go very well, but so you contact them and start a conversation. Hey, how's it going? I saw that you're doing this and doing that. Yeah. Well, hey, this is what I do. Here's a couple of things that I think it will benefit you. This is kind of like, this is not exactly how it is, right? But it's kind of like the framework. Oh yeah, would you like to jump on the phone for 30 minutes so I can give you a couple of tips? Yeah, you talk with them, create a relationship, and maybe you start a working relationship with them. You get a couple of those, you create your testimonials, you keep doing what you're doing, because the other way is to create a more inbound type of thing where you put your message out, everybody sees you, and then they contact you, right? But that could be a very easy way for you to generate new clients. You just put a plan where you're going to contact 3 people per day or 2 people or whatever that you have target, and then you start creating relationships. So if we turn that into a SaaS company, let's say that what I do is serve digital marketing agencies to create a management system solution that has an edge and makes my job easier. So if somebody contacts me and say, hey, we take a look at your company, this is what we do, do you have any need for that? You contact 100 people, some of them are going to say yes, and then you start enrolling people. It's all about having a system. A lot of people will say that the cold approach is not the best one, and I could agree with that, but it's a good one. I know people that have built multiple $1 million companies from cold email.
It's just a matter of kind of getting out there and doing it. I guess because you would have to call a lot to get those ones that say yes, but then the ones that say yes, you're off to the races.
A lot or not, it depends. It all depends on how you focus what you do and what is the strategy. Like, let's say that, I contact businesses on my area and I say, hey, I want to introduce myself. I'm a local resource here and I help businesses like you to grow. Would you like to have a 15-minute chat? I can even hop off into your office. I'm not going to do that, but if you're starting out and you don't have any clients, you just need a little bit of confidence and you just need a little bit of know-how and just make friends, right?
That's how to start. And then you could, like you said, leverage those clients into testimonials on the site. And then maybe, because we're at the point where we're trying to do more of the inbound, actually build the presence, because we've had probably referrals for the last year, but we just want a little more coming in. So we're trying to do more content. That's why I was asking kind of about the website. We haven't done a lot of SEO on it. So I'm wondering if we should do more of that for actual search, or if we should focus on a platform, just kind of at this point, now that we've got clients coming in, how do we get more of them coming to us without, I guess, cold calling or cold emailing each and every one? So more of that system.
I would say that what I would think it would be a good strategy is first upsell these people that have been your clients, because somebody have pay you, they are going to pay you again if they're happy. So try to find your next level service. I don't know if you have different type of services that you offer, but if you don't have I don't know, if you charge people, let's say $5,000 for building a funnel, whatever you charge, just find a $20,000 maybe service that you can provide and talk to your current clients, or even do a survey with them, survey them. Hey, what are you in need? We've collaborated in the past. We did that. We had a great experience. What is the next thing that you need? We are looking to serve people in a better way and deeper way. What is the next thing that you need? And then you can see if you can develop something based on that. Even if you don't do it right now, because if there's a need that you don't know that there is there, one of the problems that we have is that we think we know what people need. And then we ask and we are like, whoa, I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Or we think we know, and we spend all the time developing something or working on something. We're like, here you go. And they're like, no, thanks. I don't want
that. Exactly. So I would say that this is one of the ways that you can do it. The next way that you can do it is create a strategy where you literally ask for referrals, like actively, to the people that have already paid you.
Okay.
Right? You just need to develop a strategy, the messaging, how you're going to approach it, etc., to leverage all these people. If you have people that are influential in a specific niche market, maybe they have a list, right? Maybe they have people that are interested as well. If you can contact, the teacher or the mentor that mentors coaches, that might be a great partnership because they can leverage you through their network, right? That would be the fastest thing that I can think of on how you can leverage what you already have. And then from the organic, what it makes sense to me is use the platforms you are using to build those funnels for your clients. And if you want to do search, then you will need to do a little bit of a market research to see how hard you need to hit it. Because with search, I would say that in the industry you are in, you will need to create very long form content that has a lot of value. And then, distribute this content to as many people as you can and be consistent. Set some goals. This is how many articles I'm going to write per week or per month or whatever. Those are the topics. And then you will need to do some research within those topics.
So it is possible, but it is a longer term game just because of the saturation in digital marketing as a whole.
Yep. Search is not a short term goal type of thing unless you're doing certain things. But for something that is an industry where there's a high demand.
Mm-hmm.
High demand equals high competition, and high competition equals a lot of people trying to do what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that is written content the best, or should people leverage videos and even platforms like YouTube? Does
Yeah,
that contribute to that at all?
I would say that a multi approach is the best way to go,
Mm-hmm.
because different people learn in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So people could not stand reading and would prefer
Mm-hmm.
video. People hate video because they need to watch 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't know those extensions where you can 2x any video on the internet, they will be just like, oh.
Yeah.
Like I pretty much 1.5x everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I talk with the people that I 1.5x the videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why are you talking so slow, man? Are you okay?
Yeah. Or like, because I use, what is it called? Video speed controller in the Google Chrome. And sometimes when it resets, it sounds like they're like, oh, I'm back on 1x. No, crank that back up. In our coaching group, we always tell everybody, if you're watching videos, try 1.5x. You might be able to do 2 depending on where they're from. But it's amazing how much quicker you can get through podcasts, audiobooks, videos just by cranking that up a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a really, really good tip. Speaking of speed, is the speed of a website, does that contribute to how a site is ranked, like on Google?
Absolutely, yeah. This is the era where we are in. And if you are not on Wi-Fi, this is going to load much slower than a computer. So the industry average says that if your site loads in more than 3 minutes, you are kind of up.
3 seconds?
3 seconds, sorry.
Okay,
yeah.
like 3 minutes. Okay.
3 minutes would be like
dial-up days, yeah.
That's the industry average, but I still think that that's a long time to load. 3 seconds is a lot. With the I don't know. I'm not. I think that people are looking a lot of instant gratification these days because of how the whole thing has turned into. So yeah, it does.
So just downsizing your videos, your images, making sure your site is mobile responsive. Is there anything else to speed up websites in general?
I would say that, mobile responsiveness is not really a factor on if your website goes fast or not. I would say that, the speed of the website has to do with the server side and the front end side. And if there's a developer, I'm probably making some stupid mistakes here, but I'm trying I'm trying to be smart. Yeah. So no, it's how fast the website loads. And that doesn't necessarily has to do with if your website is responsive or not, but the quality of the coding and how much stuff you have within your coding. Images play a lot of weight too. If you have gigantic images, they're going to take a long time to load because it's all about data transferring, right? So I would say that, minimizing things like the CSS on your website, the JavaScript on your website, having clean content that is written in the shortest way possible, having a good hosting company, because a lot of times it's about the hosting and pretty much that. I'm not an expert in coding, but, I have enough knowledge to know that speed is a very high factor to consider, pretty much, because if somebody's waiting on their phone more than 3 or 4 or 5 seconds, they're going to hit the back button, go to another website, and Google is going to be like, well, everybody thinks that this is crap because everybody's getting in and out. So yeah.
Okay, so speed, very, very important. I know they say that, I don't know what the average attention span of a goldfish is, but they say that humans were now less than that. So yeah, if it's not loading up immediately, people close it and they forget they were even there.
Yeah, and the it's your fault. People like you that create these funnels that are that are all grab attention and things like that. It's your fault, man. Run, what's going on?
We're ruining the industry.
You're ruining people's brains. Now we cannot be looking at something for more than 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
We start getting the jiggers. It's just like, oh, 3 seconds.
I don't have time for this. With that reminds me of one more point with funnels and landing pages. So we typically use ClickFunnels, and there's a place to put in SEO metadata. So do you find that SEO is important for landing pages like opt-in funnels and webinar funnels as well? Or because they're separate, sometimes they're hidden, does it not matter as much?
I would say that it matters if your intention is to rank those landing pages on Google.
Okay.
If not, doesn't matter at all.
Doesn't matter. So if it's hidden behind, because some opt-ins are just for warm traffic, some webinars, they want you to go through a sequence first. So if they're hidden, then the SEO is not going to matter at all, even if it's pointing back to your website in some way.
I would say that the metadata, the title tags, the H1 tags, the formatting of your content matters only if you're trying to rank on a search engine.
Okay.
If you're sending traffic from Facebook, it doesn't matter how well SEO optimized your website is. You might need to think more into a conversion standpoint and less into, oh, do I need to put this keyword here? Because it doesn't make sense. You're not doing anything to take into consideration search engines. Everything is human-based, right? So if it's human-based, you don't even need to be careful about what keywords you put unless you're thinking about words with a human psyche in mind. Like if I say impressive, is this going to affect a reader than if I use great? Yes. But would that affect a search engine to rank better? No.
Okay.
Unless, no.
So funnels, that's kind of what I was thinking as well, just because you're not trying to put them out on Google. It's focused more on the conversions and the psychology of just sales in general, as opposed to making sure you put your title tags in there or your image tags or whatever.
Always if because a funnel is something very broad, it can be used for anything. I could even use a cold email funnel. I could use e-commerce funnel where there's upsells and downsells, etc. And I can use a direct funnel. That is what I think you are mentioning. That is just bring somebody from Facebook to a landing page and then funnel people through that.
Yeah.
So all these 3 funnels are important. I would say that the first 2 have an important play on SEO for the landing page itself, not maybe for the upsells, but for traffic that comes from any other outlets, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, whatever, you don't necessarily need to have into consideration anything related to SEO.
Okay. Since your goal there is actually send them on a journey from paid traffic to landing page to, email marketing on the back end.
Yeah.
You're never going to come across it in Google. So don't even try to get them to come across it in Google.
If you don't want to focus on Google, no. Let's say that I have a funnel that comes from organic on Facebook, actually. I have a group and I send everybody through my funnel. Google is not on my mind. So why would I do anything with Google in mind? Now, if part of my strategy now is going to become Google, then yes, I think differently. But if I'm not thinking on Google, then I shouldn't. Okay. Because if you think on Google, you're going to need to put a strategy behind it. Putting your meta tags and title is not going to rank you. You need to do much more than that. So, yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, because in ClickFunnels, there's always a place, and I always set it up just in case with the name and tags and the title, basically just using stuff from the landing page itself. But it's more of a perfectionist OCD approach, just feeling like, well, I don't want to leave it blank, but I also kind of figured that nobody's ever going to find this unless I'm sending people directly to it. So that all makes sense. Yep. Confirms my suspicions. Yep. You're on the right way, the right path.
All right, Jesus, we have been here for an hour. This has been super awesome just to kind of dive into SEO and all of this. If any of our crew want to find out more about you or look up your SEO services, where can they find you on the interwebs?
You can type Real Focus Marketing on Google if you want. You can hit me on Facebook as well. I think we are in similar groups with each other. And if they go to your profile and look into your friends, they are going to find me as well. So if they have any questions, I'll be happy to answer when I have time. And, happy to help anybody that I can.
Okay, that's awesome. I'll include links to your site below. And yeah, they can hit me up on Facebook and find you through there. And yeah, just look forward to chatting again soon. Jesus, thank you again.
Thank you very much. And if anybody needs some funnels built, talk with Ron, man. Ron is the man, okay?
All right, thanks, Jesus. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.